I'm tired of messing around. Everybody follow Beadle. Not so fast. I will smite you from the darkness with the light, and we will claw you back down to the depths. Let them fight. We will claim the ring for our victory. Death from above.
Join the team.
Hey, theMCGuiRE Review, and today we're going to take a look at the brand new Beadle Grimm's board game. This is a first for Beadle Grimm's. Now, you do not know who Beadle Grimm's are. They make fantastic RPG experiences in a box that I like to say. I got a number of them over here that you will see. We're going to be doing a video here coming up very, very soon on their brand new box coming out. But this video is not about what Beadle Grimm's has done to this day. This video is about what Beadle Grimm's will potentially do as they go into the future. Or one of the things that they definitely will do as they go into the future, which is in the board game realm. So this is a first for them. This video is coming to Kickstarter. Actually, if you're watching this video, it may be on Kickstarter right now, because this video probably is going to be released a day before or the day of when the Kickstarter starts. So, if that is the case, you'll be able to find the link in the description below. Regardless, there'll be a link in the description below that will reference the page that you can go to and kind of follow to get ready for that Kickstarter. But I have played this game, and the one thing that I really hoped for in playing this game is that I would love it, because I love Beadle Grimm's. And I love it. I do. I really do. I love the game. You know, you have to be fair, and we're going to be fair throughout the video, but you have to be fair whenever you have a company that comes with a brand new game and it's their first game. Okay? I wouldn't say these guys are necessarily known for being board game designers. Okay? They're more in the RPG space. However, they've done a fantastic job here with this first game. It's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun, and we're going to get into the details here in a second, but I do want to hit a couple things before we dive in. One, this is not a paid-for video, okay? The channel doesn't do that. Two, obviously I have the game. So the game was sent to me from Beadle Grimm's to be able to make this review video if I like the game, because that's how it works. So lots of people send me stuff, and I'm like, Okay, so if it's on the channel, it's good, and I stand behind it, okay? So that's the other thing that's important to understand. We're going to be fair in the review, obviously, but that's the other thing to understand. And the last thing is, I'm not going to give them any passes, okay? It is a board game. This is a board game review video. It is going to be very different than maybe what we've done in the past with some of the unboxings of their RPG products. Yes, we can kind of review that stuff, but those are more of like unboxings to see all the materials that are inside. It's a lot of printed materials that you use, and then you use your creativity to implement those materials. This is something very different. The design has to be here, the mechanics have to be here, the components have to be here, everything has to hit for this experience to work for a group of people. It's a very different thing, okay? And I am very pleased to say that they have done a very, very good job. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get into kind of some deets here on the game. So this is a 3 to 6 player game. You do need a minimum of 3 players. Now again, everything that's in front of us is prototype. So could it be changed in the Kickstarter? Could it be changed once it releases retail? I'm not sure. Right now it is a 3 to 6 player game. We're going to talk about that in the review, okay? Age 13 plus, again, they're always going to put ages on these. Children, people younger than 13 can definitely be able to play the game, but they do have to put ages on it just based on, you know, artwork and whatnot. Whereas there's nothing here that's, like, gruesome or, you know, there's no problem with any of the artwork. It's all just standard fantasy-based artwork. Well, I wouldn't say standard. I mean, the artwork is pretty sick. So that's one of the things that we'll talk about here in the review. I absolutely love the artistic work on each one of the characters. The Beadle Grimm are fantastic, but all of them really follow the same artistic style, The artwork is amazing. All right. Okay, let's focus. Age 13 plus, 60 to 90 minutes. So that 90 minutes is going to be more on if you have the 6 players, okay? You can get upwards into that 90 minutes, and it's usually if you got a lot of people that really know what they're doing and everybody's playing the cards extremely strategic, that's when you're going to get into those longer hour-and-a-half long games. Most of your games are going to be around that hour-long mark, which is perfect, all right? 3 to 6 players, we've already hit that. Now, there's going to be a number of contents. We're going to go over the components. We're going to talk about the game. Then we're going to kind of go into, like, what are the fantastic mechanics and all the different ways the game plays out? What are some things I'd like to kind of see, maybe we could think about as we go over the course of the Kickstarter? And then we're going to end with maybe a round or two of a little bit of gameplay. We'll bring in Bear. Bear's going to help with that, and we'll do a little gameplay, which would be pretty cool. Okay? So we do have the rule book. Again, everything in front of us is prototype. We got the rule book. You do have the extra mats. I've got kind of a little 4-player setup here going, but obviously you'd get two more of these mats here. Mats are really cool. They got a spot here for your adventuring party. Every single person will take on a different adventuring party, which is pretty cool. And that adventuring party will come with its own we'll just say like powers or abilities that will be specific to that adventuring party. And it is really nice. It adds a little bit of variability every time you play. Other than that, everything down here is kind of all the same. These characters don't have any specific powers. It doesn't matter that this character is a rogue or that character could be a fighter. It's however you want to place the artwork. All of that is kind of the same. It's not adding anything else to you. It is primarily, as a player, that adventuring party and the ability that comes with the adventuring party, which is nice. And I like that. I think they could have done something different down here with, like, every type of character has its own type of ability as well. But then, like fighter maybe gets 2 attacks, cleric gets an attack and a retreat, rogue. I mean, I can go on and on, right? But I think it would have added just another layer of complexity and mechanic to the game, and it would have taken away from, like, the really, really cool strategic movement and how you play your base cards. So I'm glad that they didn't add that extra layer of complexity into the already well-designed mechanic. A lot of games do that, and it just muddies it down, so that was the first thing I noticed they had done with the game design that I thought was really nice. The next thing here is your turn order, and I'm a big one for, like, any of these games, you gotta have the reference card. Well, you don't need the reference card if it's printed right on your player mat, so nice use of space there and well done. Everything you need to know is right here in the turn order, all right? And then you've got a spot for your summoning points. This is basically how you win the game, so we'll talk about that real quick because it's extremely easy. You win the game by obtaining 11 summoning points. The first person to do that is the winner, or you will win the game if you literally you are the last person with at least one hero that's part of your adventuring party that's still alive, okay? So you can almost think of it as you have 8 points of health in this game because every single character can be wounded, and then it has to be wounded again, and then it's dead, and you have 4 of those. So you essentially have 8 points of life in the game, and if you are the last person standing, per se, you will automatically win the game. But most games are going to be won by someone hitting that 11th summoning point. And we'll talk about how you get those points and how the design of obtaining those points, I think, was also done very well. Okay, last thing, we got a spot for each one of our adventuring party heroes. Every adventuring party is going to have completely different artwork. You'll be able to see the artwork on the side-by-side cam of some of the stuff that's already out on the table, as well as what was left, because we're obviously not playing with 6 players here. So we do have 2 more groups here, and they each have their cards. So it's really cool, the amount of artwork that was included in the game, and how every different party looks the same. They could have cheaped out and just made every adventuring party generically the same, and then maybe like this token would have been different, but they really went the distance of making all the artwork for the 4 different adventurers that's in your party for each player, which that was really cool. Okay, and then you have a spot for each of these different classes here: the fighter, the cleric, the rogue, and the wizard. Just kept it nice and classic, which was pretty cool. Now, what I will say is, again, you can put your characters wherever you want, wherever you feel like the artwork makes the most sense, or if you want to change it up game to game, that's up to you as a player. It doesn't make a difference. What does make a difference is when you play with your cards here, the cards that are going to be in your hand. These cards that are in your hand sometimes specifically can only be used by certain classes. So, example here, the ones that are just like gray like this, they can kind of be used across the board. But then you've got other ones like over here. You'll see this one's got like a red top. This one's got like a purple top. Well, these purple cards can only be played if this wizard is still alive. Okay, and the red can only be played if your rogue is still alive. Now you don't have to say, oh, you can thematically, oh, my rogue is doing this, but you can't play these cards if your rogue in your adventure party has died, if it's red to red. And that's really easy to see that with the use of the little color coding at the top of the banners. You just match it with the color coding of your class, and then you can see which cards can be played and which cards cannot be played. So that was done visually really well. And that's another thing. Here's the thing. So again, just real talk as part of the review here. I knew this game would have very, very well done visuals, and I knew this game would have very, very intuitive visuals with like how things are used together. Okay, I knew that because these guys have 5+ years of experience of designing these RPG box sets in the Dungeons and Dragons and the Pathfinder worlds. Okay, and then they've done some Critical Role stuff as well. So they already have kind of mastered that, I think, over the years, and seen those boxes get better and better and better. Where I needed to see that they were capable of doing is then using that, but then also integrating that into the mechanics of a board game and the play of a board game, right? So everybody feels like things are done fairly, it's fun, it's not overpowered in some way, it's repetitive play that's interesting over and over and over again, and they've really been able to do that, I think, by keeping the game very, very interactive amongst the players, okay? So that was really, really good. All right, so we've hit everything that's kind of on this. We've hit sort of some of the cards. The other thing that you're going to have is you're obviously going to have a number of different, and you have more than 6, a number of the adventuring parties. So there are more than 6 adventuring parties to choose from. So that's pretty cool as well. Keeps it kind of going even though you only have 6 players. You will have more choices over the course of gameplay. So we'll run through those real quick. We got the Defenders of Faith. We got the Giant Slayers, which Beadle Grimm is part of. We got the Hellraisers. Hellraisers. We've got Death from Above, which is an entire dragon adventuring party, which I thought was really cool that they did. I didn't expect that. That was really cool. We already hit the Defenders of Faith. Then we got the Den of Thieves. We got the Brute Squad, the Servants of Chaos, and the Dread Legion. And all of these, again, have different powers. So, for instance, the Defenders of Faith here, as your bonus action, you can play any 2 cards as a Resurrection card or a Healing Potion card. That's huge, right? Death from Above, you can play any attack card as if it were a standard ranged attack from any class, okay? That's nice. That could be very beneficial. You can do, let's see, we'll look at... Let's look at Dread Legion. You can continue to use class cards even if your hero of that class is dead. That's a very... This one I almost thought was a little OP, but I think it balances and plays out pretty well. That's a really good one. Brute Squad. Your successful melee attacks count as 2 hits on the same hero. Okay? So that's really good as well if you got that Brute Squad. So they're all different, as you can see, and they'll offer you the ability... and a play style that's a little bit different, which I found is very interesting. Depending on which adventuring party you'll have, you may position yourself differently on the map. You may play the game a little bit different when it's your turn. So let's just talk a little bit about how do we set up, how do we get all this stuff in our hands. So you're going to get a mat. Okay, you're then going to kind of do this little thing where you take your adventuring parties, you're going to shuffle them all up, you're going to then decide who's kind of going to start that. We'll call that person the first player, but the first player ends up being actually somebody else later in this cycle. But we'll call that person the first player. That person is going to draw 2 of these adventuring party cards. They're going to look at them, and they're going to choose one of them and put it down, and then they're going to pass the one they didn't choose to their left, okay? Then that person's going to take that one, then that person's going to draw a brand new one, and they're going to look at them and be like, oh, okay, I want this one. And they're going to keep it, and then they're going to pass it to the left. And they're going to do that all the way around the table until everybody has one of these adventuring party cards, okay? The actual first player to the game is the person that is to the left of the person that actually started to draw the cards there. So, you know, if I was the person that started, then the first player to the game would be the person right to my left. Okay, and that's how. And then you're going to go clockwise around the table past that point. So that's how that's going to work. Now, the next thing you're going to do, which I thought was a really cool piece, and again, it's the Beadle and Grimm guys. So I think this is where a little bit of that flavor came in. You're going to go around the table and you're going to obviously read, okay, I'm the Defenders of Faith and here is my power. So everybody knows what everybody can do, all right? Now, obviously, after you've played the game a number of times, you'll start to memorize the powers of the cards, and maybe you don't necessarily need to do that. But the next step is critical, and that is, for your adventuring party, you have to come up with a catchphrase, which is hilarious. So, you know, you can think of something funny, you can think of, you know, whatever you want to say, and essentially you're supposed to use that catchphrase at the end of every one of your turns. You'll say your catchphrase. Now, there's no penalty to you unless you want to house rule that. There's no penalty to you if you forget to do your catchphrase. The whole point of saying the catchphrase is just to indicate to the next player, okay, you are done with your turn, because you're going to be playing cards, you're going to be moving, you're going to be doing a number of things. And it just signifies to the next person you're done with your turn. It's also just kind of fun to keep saying that catchphrase over the course of the game. Like, everybody has a different catchphrase. So, you know, if I was playing if I was playing like the Den of Thieves, maybe my catchphrase would be,
get ready for the tiny bone ship of death.
All right, that might be my catchphrase. You know, I could probably come up with one for everybody around the table, but we won't do that. Okay, and then you're going to be able to start the game. Now, again, the point in trying to win is getting to that 11 summoning points. I'm going to go through the turn order here, and you will notice there is this fantastic ring in the center. This is not the ring that will come in the actual game. This was part of the prototype. This ring actually comes from another one of their box sets. So they have like these fantastic like jewelry pieces that are in their box sets, and pins and all, you know, amulets and all kinds of cool stuff. But there will be a very sweet ring that will come with this game as well when it's produced, and you probably can see it there on the Kickstarter of what that will look like. And it will sit right here in the center, because you are going to be pretty much trying to get that ring at all times when it's your turn, because that's how you get summoning points. That's primarily how you get summoning points, is by getting a hold of that ring. All right? So let's hit our turn order real quick. So on your turn, there's going to be a number of things that you can do. I'll just use this one here, okay? You can, you start, and you do these in order, all right? You draw 3 action cards. Now, you want to draw those cards one at a time, and these are your action cards. Now, you will start the game with 4 action cards, but you want to draw these action cards from this one at a time, and you can only, when you end your turn, you have to end with no more than 5 cards, okay? So you'll draw one at a time, and you'll look at it. Now, the reason why you draw one at a time, and I just happened to, I didn't stack this, I just happened to get this. That just means the demo gods are with me today, is what that means. I drew a Temple Guardian. So when you draw a Temple Guardian, you're gonna play kind of that immediately, and that generally affects everybody around the table. So you would read what the card says, and you would play that Temple Guardian, and it would affect everybody around the table. Then you're going to discard that Temple Guardian, and you're going to draw again. The point is, you're supposed to be able to draw 3 cards. So if you do draw a Temple Guardian, you do continue to kind of draw. So now I'm kind of on my 1 again. Oh, I got the Sword of Slaying. Awesome. So that's an attack card. Attack any adjacent hero cannot be countered. So the Sword of Slaying cannot be countered. I would take that. And you would not be showing all your cards to everybody. These cards would be in your hand. You would keep them secret. You draw a second one. Ooh, a healing potion. Nice. That's a great item. You draw a third one. Oh, pickpocket. That's a move action. Take 1 random card from any adjacent player's hand. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to perform up to 1 of each type of action in any order. So here's where I can start doing the second step. I can do this in any order. I'm going to get a move action, I can get a attack action, or I can get a bonus action. All right? So I can do these in any order. When you move, you can take a move action, which means that's a card in your hand. So I happen to draw a card here that was a move action. It says right on the card, move action. It is a bonus action, attack action, counter action. It'll tell you exactly what the action is right on the card. It's incredibly intuitive, okay? You just do what it says. It says take one random card from an adjacent player's hand. An adjacent player's hand would be a player that would be adjacent to where I am here on the map. So that may not make sense to do that because right now we've started the game. I don't really have anybody that's adjacent. Someone that's adjacent would have to be in a bubble that's kind of connected by a line like this. So if I was here and they were there, that's not adjacent, right? That's not adjacent. It's got to be sort of connected by a bubble to bubble with a line there. And that would be an adjacent. And you can take a card from their hands. That wouldn't be any good. I wouldn't want to do that. However, it says or, right? So I can play a move action card, or I can move up to 2 spaces. So I probably would want to do that on my first turn to get closest to that ring. Maybe I would want to go like 1, 2. I jump over here. Now, when you move, if there's somebody that's in your way and you wanted to move 2, you would just go 1, 2, and that would be all fine and dandy. But let's say you actually wanted to move there. You could choose to just move 1 because it's moved up to 2. So you could go 1, and when that happens, it bumps this player out, and now you can choose to put them in any adjacent bubble to where from they got bumped out, even in the bubble where you're vacating. So you could do that strategically because maybe they're getting somewhere that's close to that ring and you don't want them to get the ring, or maybe you want to change their positioning for some reason for maybe the next round. If things are still kind of how you want it, you may want to do that sort of like that move where you bump them and then you're able to move them. Okay? That's how movement's going to work. It is that simple. That is all of the movement. Now, that's all of the movement, but it's about that strategic positioning and utilizing that simple movement and being able to do that kind of stuff. And that's where the game gets a lot of fun, because I'm telling you, this game is all about just like, it's constant player interaction the whole time you're playing. Okay? But you can do your attack action, or you can draw 1 additional card. So you then would look down and you'd say, okay, do I have melee attack actions? Do I have ranged attack actions? Those are the attack actions that you would do. And you would decide, if it's melee, you have to be adjacent, okay? So you have to be right next to a bubble connected by a line. If it's ranged, you are attacking any non-adjacent hero. So if you want to be here, you can't use ranged there. You can attack this hero, you can attack that hero. You can attack anywhere on the board that is not adjacent to you. So ranged is pretty powerful, and when you want to counter those types of things, so now let's say if you're someone who gets attacked, that's what that last type of card really in your hand does. There's other types of cards as well, but there are cards that are counter actions and dodge actions. Counter actions counter a ranged attack. A couple different types of counter actions when you're countering attacks. They don't all work the same. There's a counter action that's called parry. This one's for countering melee attacks. There's also a counter action that's called dodge. This one's used for countering ranged attacks. So you can't use dodge for melee, you can't use parry for ranged. You do have to use the right type of counter if you get attacked a specific way, okay? So that's how you use those counter cards. Those are going to be used when it's not your turn. So when someone else is trying to attack you, you're going to be like, counter, counter, right? That's what you're going to be doing, all right? So that's your attack actions and how those work. Again, there's always an or. You can or draw 1 additional card if you wanted to do that, if you didn't want to attack or you couldn't attack for one reason or the other. And then you're going to get a bonus action. The bonus action is going to be just that. On your cards here, you'll see some cards indicate bonus action. It's written right on them, bonus action. This one's called necromancy, bonus action. It's a gray top. It can kind of be used by anybody. And it says, you and every adjacent player raises 1 hero from dead to wounded. So that can be very powerful because when you take damage over the course of the game, you will become wounded. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Then the last thing is you can bonus action, or you can take the ring. So if you get to the spot that has the ring, you now have the ring, and you can set your model right there on top of the ring, and now you control the ring. You can also get the ring by falling on it. It could be anywhere around the board once it's taken. It will start the board here, but once you get to it, you can use your bonus action to get the ring. Now you don't get the bonus action and get the ring. You have to use your bonus action to acquire the ring. Now it's important because this is where the summoning points come in. Every time you acquire the ring, you immediately gain 1 summoning point. Okay? If you get the ring and you get a summoning point, and then it's like, okay, now it's your turn, I'm done. All right, I said my little tiny bone ship of death, and now it's your turn. Okay? If it goes all the way around and I start my turn again, and I still have control of that ring when my turn starts, I get 3 summoning points. So you can see that soon as someone gets that ring, everybody is going to be coming for you and that ring, which is really funny to watch because you'll find there could be strategies where you might try to bulk up, because at the end of your turn you have to discard down. You can only keep 5 cards. Okay? So I couldn't keep all these cards. I would have played some of these cards over the course of my turn. Maybe I had 6. I would have discarded 1 out and then ended my turn with 5. Maybe I choose to discard things that are attack cards, and I choose to keep all these like counter cards in my hand when I get this ring. Because then as people are attacking me, right, if they can get to me and then attack me, they have enough, points and movement, whatever, to be able to do that. I can just be like, oh, parry. Oh, you want to attack me too? Haha, parry, right? And then it gets back around to you, and you still have that ring, and you get that big bonus of those 3 summoning points. That's how the ring works, okay? Now we're going to talk about how players take damage. Your players will all start with their cards up here, like nice and fresh. When you get hit, right, and there is no, like, rolling of dice, or, I do 6 damage, and you have 5 armor, like, there's none of that. It's just, if you can hit a player, and that player cannot parry it or counter it or do anything to get out of it, you are hit. And that character just becomes wounded. On the other side of this card is the exact same image that's on the front. However, it says, cannot defend. That means you're wounded. You're still alive, you're wounded, but you cannot defend. You can still use any of the class cards, like I pulled the Sword of Slaying here, which can only be used by a fighter because it's got that blue top. Okay? I can still use this even though he's wounded, but I cannot defend with this player. So it's very dangerous when players become wounded because they are wide open. They cannot defend in any way. So another player is going, if everybody's playing ruthlessly smart in this game, because this is just a go for it kind of game, you're going to find that as soon as somebody becomes wounded, other players are going to come try to attack that player. Because when I damage another person, when I'm attacking another person, I choose which of these adventuring party heroes or which class gets attacked. The defender only chooses that if it's something that's more general for the whole board. And there are things like that, like the Temple Guardians will attack everybody. There's some traps in the game that can be drawn that will attack everybody. And when that happens, the defenders get to choose. Oh, because it's just broadly across the game, I'm going to choose who gets hurt. But if it's a direct attack from another player, that attacking player gets to choose. Oh, it's going to be your fighter because he's already wounded and we're taking him out, right? Now, once you take another point of damage, your character or one of your adventuring party characters is then killed. And you'll just kind of set them to the side off the board, and then it shows that the fighter is dead. Now, that doesn't mean that the fighter is completely out of this game. That's where the healing potions and necromancy and all those kind of things come into play. Let's say you had a wounded character, got back to your turn. Oh, on this turn I'm going to play my healing potion I held on to. Raise one hero from wounded to full strength. Okay, boom, I'm playing that. Now he's back to full strength. Or if he was completely dead, I could have played this necromancy card that said you and every adjacent player raises one hero from dead to wounded. Now, that may not be beneficial for me because adjacent players could potentially have dead characters as well. But I got to get that fighter back, so forget it. I'm going to raise the fighter and go from dead to wounded. So we're going to raise from dead, and they're back on the board. They're wounded, so they can't defend, but wow, now I can use my Sword of Slain again, or any other blue card that I've drawn that's for the fighter. So that's the balance there of how when your characters get killed and taken off, you're losing you're losing the options of what you can actually do. So you need to start strategically using these cards to produce those options for you again. And that is going to come at a cost. And I love that because all the things in the game where you sort of beef yourself back up, most of it comes at a cost, which a lot of the times in a game, in RPG games like this, those things do come at a cost. So I love that design and mechanic that's embedded here. Last thing I'm going to hit here mechanic-wise is getting to that win of that 11 points. Now, we talked about you get a point every time you acquire the ring. You get 3 points if it makes it all the way around, and this will be rare. It makes it all the way around to you and you still have the ring, you get 3 points. If you make the final blow on another character, which means they only have one venturing party person left, and you make the final blow to kind of kill that character off out of the game, what will happen is you will now acquire all of the summoning points that they have. So let's say they had 5 when this happened, right? And you were the one who made the final party member kill. You're going to gain all 5 of their summoning points. They'll go to 0. You will take all 5. Let's say you were at 6. Does that mean you immediately go to 11 and win? No, it doesn't. The max you can ever go to due to this rule is 10, okay? And what that does is it says that you can't just make that sort of like easy last kill just because it happened to be your turn. You can only go to 10, and now to win as a player, you have to acquire the ring. You have to be able to hang on to the ring until it comes around to your turn and then blow past the 11 points, then winning, okay? So the only way you can win this game is by holding the ring or obtaining the ring. That is the only way that you can actually win. You cannot physically win by consuming someone else's points. There's also cards that will allow you to steal summoning points from other players. You can go no further than the 10 mark on that as well. So let's say you're on 9 and you can consume more than 1 point. You don't go to 11, you stop at 10. And I really love that rule because it balances sort of those, what I like to refer to as cheap wins. You still have to strategically get lucky in how everything else works out to be able to get that ring or hold that ring. And that really comes into the cards that you choose. I found that really comes into the cards that you choose and you strategically hold on to depending on where you kind of are in this game and where everybody, like, is it mid-game, beginning of the game, end game? You'll get to a point where there could be many players around the table that all are at 10 summoning points, and it is just a no-holds-barred to try to get that ring to make the win. And it gets exciting, it gets fun, it gets loud, they have done a great job here with making this game simple mechanically, but very, very engaging and very, very fun, and still giving you, as a gamer, strategy and how you want to utilize these cards. And if you don't believe me that even with these simple little cards, you cannot become very strategic in what you hold in that hand of 5 cards, wait till you play this game, because the people that will win and do very well will be people that can very effectively manage that hand of 5 cards. Okay? Awesome. Okay, before we do the little bit of gameplay here, I want to hit a couple things that come to mind from let me get everything. This was going to be difficult to play over here, but let me get everything kind of hit here from a review perspective. So, a couple things that come to mind here on the review side. Well, we've hit a number of things, like positive. We hit a number of positive things. I want to hit a couple constructive things here. One, there are some things in the game that I found that do seem to be a little OP. I would say they still probably balance pretty well, but I think I think as, play testing continues to go on throughout the Kickstarter and with new cards that might happen in the Kickstarter, I'm not really sure all the things we're going to get in the Kickstarter. Are there going to be different cards? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But I think just as it continues to be play tested and put into production, maybe there might be a couple tweaks here and there. There are some things that do feel, when they happen, it's like, whoa, that was really powerful. But, anybody really has the option of being able to do that. I do feel like the powers amongst the different groups do balance pretty well. It is possible that you could get, maybe if you're playing a 3-player game, it is possible maybe you can get 2 of those players that have party powers that might be a little bit more advantageous for those players than maybe like... So I guess if you were to rank all these in order, there's definitely going to be 1 or 2 of these that are going to be at the bottom, and then some that are going to be at the very top of like, this one feels like it's going to be the most powerful. So there could be something there in the way that goes out. But the thing is, it still comes down to how you move your token or your party's token here on the board, as well as how you strategically manage those cards. So, and the second thing that I would like to see is I would love to have seen this game be a 3 to 8 players. I love that it's 6. I think 6 is good. Generally, you're not going to have more than 6 people around the table. I mean, 5 is pretty much what most board games are, 4 to 5. 6 is the high end. You're generally never going to have more than 6 people. But when I see a game like this, I think about game night. I think about party, bringing something like this to a party. I think about bringing something like this to a work event, and you're going to have more than 6 people. I found that the sweet spot is 8 people. It really is. 10 is generally, you got to find people. I'm thinking about like the size of like people's groups, and like 8 people is just like a sweet spot for a game like this. So I don't know what that would look like. I think to do something like that, you would really need to probably include another board. And just real quick, because I didn't hit this. These boards are double-sided as well, so you will get 2 boards here. Maybe there's more that come with the full game. I'm not sure, but you get 2 boards, and they are different. So you'll see that one. This one has many more little spaces in it, but they're balanced as far as like how they play. But they will play differently, right? So that's really cool. I actually really like that green. That's got a really good look. But what I would like to see is maybe like a 7 and 8 player board. Maybe it's an expansion down the road where you get a board like this, but the board would have to be a little bit bigger, right? To offer up more spots for players to move around and then kind of move into the game. That's one thing I would like to see. And I think I'm going to go as far as saying I think that's actually missing from this game. It needs to support up to the 8 players because of the type of game that it is. It just, the more people in this game, the better. Trust me. Like, games that have the 5 and 6 players are an absolute blast. So having those higher player counts are good. Having the 3 and 4 is still a lot of fun. But with this type of game, the more players you have, it just gets like good chaos, right? Good chaos gameplay, because everybody's laughing, everybody's having a good time, all right? So that's kind of the constructive side that I'll say here as part of the review, and I think something that's needed and would make this game even better. Should the game be like, it obviously would never be able to be a solo game. This is not that type of game. Should the game be a 2-player game? I don't think so. I think 3 is the minimum amount. I'm not sure that 2 players would be as fun. It would just kind of be a back and forth, and I don't know. The 3 players I think is really the right minimum mark. I think the max mark needs to be increased. Okay. All right. So that's where I would say the game is. There's obviously going to be some more tokens that are included for like other venturing parties that we're not using here in the game. All right. So let's move into the gameplay here. Hey, Bear. What's up? All right. Who do you want to be? All right. You can be Death from Above. All right. Well, no, I want to be Beadle Grimm. Well, I don't care that you want to be Beadle and Grimms. I want to be Beadle and Grimms. Okay, fine, you can be Beadle and Grimms. I'm gonna be the Defenders of the Faith, and then we'll have a couple other players here, which I will also be those players, because I can be many people, all in my head. Okay, let's say that I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go first. All right, I'm gonna go first. So I'm gonna look at my cards. Okay, technically I wouldn't have these, so I'm gonna put these away. Those were just part of the examples there. So we'll what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and we'll shuffle these up, and then we'll put these back on top, and we'll kind of run around here and do the best we can for a little fun round. Let's get some of these things reset. All right. Okay, we should be ready. Everybody's got their 4 cards. Yeah. All right. Okay, so I'm going to let's see my bonus. So as your bonus action, you can play any 2 cards as a resurrection card or a healing potion card. All right, so I can always burn 2 cards as a bonus action to pretty much heal my characters, which that can be very OP as well, because you're constantly able to heal, and these characters getting taken out is what really limits your options as a player. So that's like one of those things I mentioned a little bit earlier, that this one in particular could be seen as a little bit OP. You're just burning those cards every single round because you are able to draw 3 cards per round. Okay, so. Draw 3 cards. Again, 1 at a time, because we might draw a Temple Guardian. Okay, Healing Potion. All right, that's my first one. I'm good to go. And I wouldn't be showing this. Oop, Temple Guardian. All right, it's a threat. Play immediately. It says right on the card. All players reduce 1 hero 1 level, countered by any attack, action, or counter card. Now, that is one thing we forgot to mention. Whenever you do battle these Temple Guardians, normally against an attack, you can only use a counter card. But against a Temple Guardian, and again, this is not an attack from me to any one player, this is just affecting the board, you can use a counter or a standard attack action card. It's the only time you can do that to counter. All right, and it says it right on the card, so you don't have to remember those rules. That's another thing I will mention. I know we're past this point, but all the rules and everything you need to know is printed right on the board, right on the cards. Okay, so that makes it just a lot easier. You're not constantly going back to this book to try to figure out what's going on. Okay, all players reduce 1 hero 1 level. So I'm going to decide, I don't know. I'm going to do the rogue. I'm going to reduce the rogue, and the rogue is now going to be there. We're going to do, sorry, Beadle, you're going down and getting damaged. The fighter over here is getting damaged, and we'll go the cleric over here is getting damaged. Okay? They've all been reduced 1 level. And they can counter by any attack action or counter attack card. Okay, so let's say counter card or counter. Let's say that I actually wanted to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and counter. So my person's not going to take that damage. Right? Boom! I countered. Let's say the dragons did not. Let's say well, I don't know. Let's say that they didn't either because they really wanted to hold on to those cards. And let's say that this player actually said, you know what, I've got a counter card. I'm going to go ahead and parry, and I'm going to reduce that as well. So I'm not going to take the damage. All right, that's what I'm going to do. All right. I now would draw my second card, another Temple Guardian. Okay, so I would have to do this again. All players reduce 1 hero 1 level, countered by any attack card. This is the Beadle. Okay, so now I'm doing it again. So now other people are really burning through cards right off the bat at the start of this game. So very interesting. Okay, I'm still drawing. All right, so I'm actually going to take this damage. I'm not going to counter with anything because I don't have anything to counter with it. I have all bonus action and move action cards. I have no way to do it. This person's going to say, you know what, I've got to go ahead and counter this time, so I'm going to use this, burn this counter card, and I'm not going to take any damage. And then this person's going to say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to take a damage right here. I'm not going to counter because I want my cards. This person's already got someone hit, but we got an attack. I'm going to go ahead and use this staff as an attack action card because I can do that and take no damage. Going now for my second card, still Sword of Slaying, and now I will draw my third card. Boom, Pickpocket. All right, so those are my drawing of cards. I'm now going to move, attack, and bonus action. So what I want to do is I want to start getting myself a little bit closer to that ring, and I'm going to go 1, 2 for my move. So I've chosen to just do a move versus any of my move action cards because it doesn't make any sense. Attack action, draw. I can't attack anything. So I'm going to look at my attack actions and see, okay, I don't think any attack actions will allow you to... Maybe there might be a... I can't remember. Is there an attack action that actually will allow you to move as well? I'm not sure. So I won't say that. What I'm going to say is because I can't remember. What I'm going to say is I can't do anything else. So I'm going to draw one additional card and see what I get. Ooh, Mind Control. Bonus action. Cause the party holding the ring to give it to you. Okay, I'll be keeping that card strategically. All right, bonus action or take the ring. So bonus action... there's really no bonus actions that I would want to do. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bonus action heal, and I'm going to change one wounded character into a full strength character. So that's what would be my bonus action. I'm then going to be looking at all my cards, and I'm only allowed to keep 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid and discard Pickpocket and end my turn with these 5 cards because Mind Control is going to be strategic to have long term. I've got a few bonus actions here, move actions that are good, and I got that big Sword of Slaying, which is a really good attack that cannot be countered. So when I really want to make the kill, I'm going to need that Sword of Slaying. All right? And that's the end of my turn. Okay? And now we'll go to Bear's turn. Bear is going to, let's see what the power Bear has. Every time you are hit by an attack, you draw a card. So actually, in that first little round there, this player did get attacked twice by the Temple Guardians, so they would have drawn two cards as well. So we'll just say, for the case of demoing here, they ended up holding on to. They would have been able to end. They would have been able to end with technically with 5 cards in their hand. So we'll just say that they have all these cards here, and hopefully I'm playing that particular rule correctly. But I'm just playing the power here as it's stated on the card, okay, for demo purposes. So the first thing I'm gonna do is draw those cards one at a time. 1, teleport. That's pretty sick. 2, tithe. Okay, and 3, poison. Nice. Force any one player to drop a card from their hand. Okay, that's pretty cool. And that is a bonus action. All right. So what I'm going to do, some of these cards like teleport, and there's cards that will move you to the same spot as someone else on the board. That becomes very beneficial when you're way out here and you want to get to the ring quickly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move. I'm going to do that move as 1, 2. I am going to do that first. I'm not really... I can't attack from where I am right now. So actually, you know what? I'm gonna go 1, 2, and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna bump this character here. So they've kind of clogged up here a little bit. I'm then going to attack. So I'm gonna look at my cards here, and I'm gonna find I can't attack ranged, but I can attack melee, and I can use my rogue with this weapon right here. Attack any adjacent hero countered by parry. So it can only be countered by parry. I'm attacking this hero. We'll look at their card. You know what? They had a parry. So parry comes down. The attack is not successful, but I burnt obviously one of their cards. The attack is not successful. Okay. So now what we're going to do, and that's it. I can't just keep doing it. That was my opportunity. Now I can bonus action or I can take the ring. Obviously can't take the ring. We'll look here and we'll see, okay, what kind of bonus actions do we need to do? Well, we don't have any bonus actions that are even available to us. So we're good. So now we're going to have to discard down to 5. So we got 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know. Let's get rid of tithe and let's get rid of, I don't know. I don't think I want this. I definitely want dominance. So I'm going to get rid of this poison as well. Okay, we got our 5 cards. It's now going to move after they say their little catchphrase. It's now going to move to the next player. Okay, now this player is going to get to draw 3 cards. So we're going to get a Savage Attack. That's pretty nuts. That's a melee. Second one, we're going to get a nice Sword, another melee attack. And it's good because we're getting crunched up here. Third is going to be another Sword melee attack. Okay, so they got a bunch of melee attacks now. So do they actually attack first? You can do your actions in any order. You can't split them up, which means you can't like move 1 space, attack, and then move 1 more space. You can't do that. You have to do the full action. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attack first. So I'm attacking over here to Beadle and Grimm's because they just laid it down, and I am within melee range. So it's countered by parry. Savage. Ooh, hang on a second. As part of the same attack action, you may also play any additional melee attack cards in your hand. Countered by parry. Each parry counters 1 attack card. Good lord. As a part of the same attack action, you may also play any additional melee attack cards in your hand. We are going Savage style, okay? We're going Savage style. So, Savage Attack. Okay? For the first attack action, it's going to be Savage Attack against Beadle and Grimm's. They have to block that with a parry, okay? So, and I can attack anybody. I can attack this character or this character. So I'm going to attack Beadle and Grimm's. They have to block with a parry. They don't have it. So since I'm deciding who gets attacked, guess what, Beadle? You're out. Beadle just got killed, okay? Beadle is out because Beadle was wounded. So Beadle's already out, and anything that's a wizard card can now not be played from that character. I am then going to continue my Savage Attack with another attack that can only that countered by parry. This character doesn't have any parry. They're just getting eaten alive. We're taking Grimm. That's who I'm deciding to now hit. Grimm is now wounded and can attack, but cannot defend, okay? Oh, man, so bad. All right, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to end this Savage Attack with my 3rd melee attack, with my 3rd sword out of nowhere, countered by parry, and I will be attacking Death from above. And they now will have to look to see, okay, can they have anything that can parry? And they don't, okay? And I'm going to obviously choose this character to just go ahead and kill. So that was brutal for that first round attack and doing that attack first. Now I'm going to move. And I'm going to go 1, 2. And I am on the ring. I have acquired the ring. The Hellraisers have acquired the ring. They're going to go up 1 summoning point by acquiring that ring. I now can do... Well, not technically. So technically, I moved upon the ring. I'm using my bonus action to take the ring, to pick up the ring. So that's technically done as my bonus action, and then I would gain that 1 summoning point. I would make sure that I only had my 5 cards. I do because I just drilled through them with that massive Savage Attack move, and I'm now down to 3 cards, and my turn is now over with a vicious number of attacks to my opponents. And I've acquired the ring, and if I have that ring at the start of the next turn, I will then gain 3 more summoning points, which probably won't happen. Okay, it's now this character's turn. I'm going to draw my cards, okay? Got a mace, I got a healing potion, which I definitely need, and I got a hasty retreat. Avoid any attack and move 1 to 3 spaces on the board in any direction. That's pretty cool, okay? So I got all these cards. I don't have any Necromancy cards. I need Necromancy, or I need someone else around the board that's adjacent to me to play Necromancy to be able to get my blue Cleric Dragon back up. So that is out right now, but I have a number of other things that I can do. I am now going to... what do I want to do? Do I want to... I don't know that I necessarily want to go... Oh, because I can't get to the ring. Don't have any cards to technically steal the ring. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my ranged attack cards first. And I think I'm going to do a fireball. Let's see. No. Well, yeah, I am. I'm going to do a fireball attack, ranged. And I'm going to make that attack against the Hellraiser right here holding the ring. Make a range attack against one target and make additional range attacks against all parties adjacent to the original target. So I'm going to get to hit the Defenders of Faith and the Hellraisers by hitting a fireball right here. This person is safe. Beadle Grimm's is safe on that one. But I'm going fireball. Fireball comes in, and this character has nothing. This character has nothing with that fireball to be able to get out of that. So that fireball is going to hit. I'm then going to choose, okay, I'm going to go ahead and take that little adventuring party person out. And then on your side, we're going to wound somebody because nobody's wounded. And I'm going to wound. I got a feeling you're like beefing up that fighter. They don't know, but they're going to wound that fighter. That fighter's now wounded. Okay, that was the attack action. That was huge. So we'll put those back. And now we're going to go into, let's see, what do we got from a bonus perspective? We can heal, but it's only from wounded. Yeah, there's not really nothing we can do from a bonus perspective. So we're going to go ahead and move. And, it's early game, so I'm not going to rush. I'm going to play these dragons from a ranged perspective. That's what I think, because I've got a number of ranged cards that ended up in my hand. So I'm going to kind of skirt around the outside of the board and see if I can just sort of like light them up from the outside and then swoop in for the kill. So I'm going to do a 1, and I'm going to go, you know what, I'm going to go here for 2 because that's not technically adjacent because there's not a line that's connecting it. It's sort of like out on kind of a little platform here where I can just... So that's what I'm going to do there. That's pretty strategic, I think. Again, we couldn't do anything for the bonus. We're going to discard down to 5 cards. I only have 5, so we're good. They're going to say their little catchphrase, suck the fireball. I don't know, that wasn't very good. Okay, and then it's back around to the first player, and then the first player is going to start again. So we're only going to do 1 round here, but you can see, just in this video, we're going to see how furious this is getting. And that's the reason why I wanted to just kind of show 1 round. Within 1 round, look at how many cards were transferred, battles happened, fights, how intense, how close, the fireballs, it's just all there, right? It's all there, and it's like in round 1. So you can imagine this game going on for an hour like this, how intense and how much fun you're going to have as a party sitting around the table and playing Ring of Chaos. So, team, don't let this one slip by. It's coming in at a fantastic entry price on the Kickstarter. I think you're going to be surprised. They made it right. It's got the right amount of components. They didn't overdo anything. You're going to get some cool components. They do have a version if you're really wanting those miniatures, and I highly suggest checking out those miniatures. If you're someone who likes to paint miniatures, this would be a phenomenal game to get the miniatures and then paint them. Have those awesome, beautifully painted miniatures on the board to just add aesthetically to the game and to the enjoyment. Make it a little bit of a hobby thing as well if you want. I think all those things are really cool, and they're all things that add a little bit more to the game. And they didn't overdo it with the miniatures, where it's like you get 8,600 miniatures in 16 different boxes. It's like there's just enough miniatures to make sense for what you're doing and what you're playing, which then will allow you to kind of paint those up and not take too much time with that, and have a beautifully hand-painted game if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to paint them and you just love the miniatures, you can go that route. If you want to save some money and the standees are good enough for you, the artwork is awesome on these little standees. And again, this is just prototype, but the artwork is really cool. That's plenty good enough and achieves everything that is necessary to be achieved for a game like this. Right, team? With that, keep rolling them crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time.